What is good, y'all? NG Senton here. Today we're gonna be reacting to a Rotten Mango video. This one is titled "Husband Kills Wife for Denying Sex During Her Period." Wow, what a title! What a title! Yeah, and I am aware that I have not been doing Rotten Mango videos. And the reason being is just because I want to expand my YouTube and give you guys a variety. I want to give y'all like a variety of different content. So, but as promised, like I said before, I'll still react to Rotten Mango videos if this is what you guys want me to do. But without further ado, let's get into this video. This video is only an hour long, so this one is not as long as her typical videos, which are like 2 to 3 hours long. But yeah, like I said, let's get it.
Bada bing, bada boo.
Hope you guys enjoy the reaction, and make sure to go watch the original video. I'll provide it in the description below.
SJ is going to be the next to die. That is the most likely, reasonable conclusion that everybody in his life is coming to. He's gonna be next. He's gonna be the next one to die. Especially right now, because he's just wandering around this empty, strong, disinfectant, chemical-scented hallways of the morgue. Everybody that knows SJ is growing concerned. They're getting nervous. Somebody needs to stay with him. Hurry, I'm worried he's gonna die too. I'm anxious. This is a direct quote from one of his family members. Wherever SJ goes, there is an anxious family member sitting next to him. If he's in the hallway outside the room, there is a family member sitting right next to him, also exhausted, leaned back against the chair and staring into the abyss of the bright office backroom lighting morgue hallway. And it's very understandable that SJ is distraught. SJ's wife is laying on a steel table in the room right behind him, right next to all of his family members, and they're about to cut her open to see how she was killed inside of their house.
Oh my god, wow. Wow, this just got morbid hella fast. Cut her open? Holy shit. Wow. You know, this doesn't even surprise me because every time I watch a Rotten Mango video, especially the ones that y'all send me, man, it's always some unhinged shit. I swear I cannot make this up. But, you know,
Inside of their newlywed home after they had been married for only 3 months. She is killed in the middle of the night.
Only 3 months?
Because SJ is drunk and passed out on the couch, he has no clue what happened to his wife inside the master bedroom, the primary bedroom.
No
It could have been
way.
an intruder. It could have been a medical anomaly. I mean, that's highly unlikely, but we don't know. SJ is sitting next to his wife's sister. So this is his sister-in-law. I mean, she's also grieving. She would more so be in a state of shock staring at the hallway in front of them. She's probably in more pain about losing her sister than SJ is about losing his wife. They've only been together for like a year and a half, but still,
A year and a half is not a long time at all. It is not a long time. And for those who may say, wow, that's a while. No, it's not. It is not. That is only a short period of time in reality. Because a year, it just goes by like that. A year is only 12 months. It's not that long.
The whole family is worried for SJ. He probably feels all this guilt of not having been in the room with her, but outside on the couch, leaving for work in the morning, thinking she's asleep in the bedroom when in reality she was dead in the bedroom.
Dead all
He's
this
probably
time.
hit the hardest, at least right now. I mean, it's his wife after all. And then SJ turns to his sister-in-law. So this is the deceased sister, you know?
Yeah.
The wife's sister, and she just distinctly remembers how odd this was. He turns to her in the hallway in the morgue when they're performing this autopsy, and he states, you know, I'm someone with really strong sexual desires.
What?
She's tilting her head. She's
Really strong sexual desires? Now if that is a red flag, I don't know what is. But the thing is, though, I'm pretty sure that that wasn't talked about or mentioned when those two first became a couple. Because usually in the beginning, people like to play a facade and pretend that they're not like this. But once they get very comfortable with their partner, that's when the truth starts to reveal itself. And that's something that a lot of people need to especially be careful of. Because, you know, the world is very crazy. And there's a lot of sick, twisted people out there that we don't even know about.
Looking at him like this
That's
is
just crazy.
unsolicited, unprompted information that she doesn't even know if she heard this correctly. What do you mean? I'm a person with strong desires, you know? But your sister would never let me touch her. She's sitting there trying to understand what he's telling her. Her sister is dead, most likely murdered, and being autopsied in the room right there.
And just telling her that after her death is just like, what? What? Nah, I would feel like that shit is so unhinged, man. I will start feeling mad uncomfortable, especially if he's just like casually just telling her this, like after the incident. Like, what? That is crazy, man.
And her sister's husband is telling her that he has a lot of needs. What the hell is going on right now?
Now, I understand that people have their needs, but like I said, like there's a fine level of that. There's a fine level of that. It's all about respecting your partner. You know, if your partner doesn't want to do it, you gotta respect that. You can't force that upon them. Especially don't go around and killing your significant other because they won't give you sex. Like, what are you doing? Like, if you cannot control your urges, you need to go seek help. You need to go to a therapist or practice self-control. Do something. Read the Bible. Do whatever. Do whatever you need to do to fight that urge. And don't get me wrong, like I know, because as a man, you know, I got needs. I got wants. You know, I'll be lying if I sit here and said I didn't. But that's crazy. Rotten Mango. Make sure to go
We
support
would
her
like to thank today's
podcast.
sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the National Network to End Domestic Violence, a nonprofit.com. A few disclaimers for this case. There are mentions of SA and a lot of mentions of pregnancy loss, so please watch with caution. This case also takes...
Yes, of course. But then again, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be clicking on this reaction video if you haven't already watched the original video itself or heard the podcast on Spotify or wherever. But yeah, expect a lot of messed up, dark, twisted shit in her talks. Because, yeah, this ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new, y'all.
Place in South Korea. We had our wonderful Korean translators help us with this case. However, if anything ever gets lost in translation, just please let us know in the comments. And with that being said, let's get started. How do you know Satan's not your neighbor? I think it's a good question. Okay,
What?
perhaps one that is never asked and only ever answered in typically a life-threatening manner. There is this tradition, though, in South Korea where if you live in a big apartment building, every now and then you will get a ring on your doorbell. You look at the intercom screen, because a lot of these apartments will have a screen even if someone's right outside your door. Or sometimes you look through the tiny little peephole and you have one eye open and you'll usually see one or two people that you have never seen in your entire life standing outside your apartment door very awkwardly. You don't know how they got access into the building, let alone why are they standing at your door? You don't know. But you look down and they're holding a paper bag with stripes. It looks festive. It looks like a gift bag. You look back up and they're now staring directly into the...
Yeah, it seems all innocent at first, and then you start finding out what's really going on. That shit's scary. That shit's... Ooh, that shit just gave me the chills.
peephole with this awkward, polite half smile. They know you're on the other side staring
fake
at them.
and pretentious
You know
smile.
that they know. And so now you've got to open the door. So that's what you do. And they let you know, hi, we're the new neighbors upstairs. We just moved in. We wanted to bring you rice cakes. The tradition lives on. It's not as big as it used to be, I will say. The apartment buildings in Korea have gotten much larger. It would just not be fiscally responsible to buy rice cakes for all 132 neighbors of the building. But in smaller communities, people have stopped doing it too. I mean, it's a shame because the tradition isn't just about meeting your neighbors and being cute and being polite and bringing them rice cakes. It's to drive out evil spirits. That's
Oh,
the symbolism behind the rice cakes. If Satan were to live next door to you, you drive them out the building like a mass exorcism via a red bean rice cake. That's the meaning. Satan notoriously doesn't like rice cakes. Who would have known? I mean, obviously, it's an exaggeration of a truth.
you know, this is like the first time I'm hearing all this, so this is crazy. I didn't know. I didn't know the full lore behind all that. I mean, if someone knows about this shit, please like elaborate and talk about it more in the comment section to help me like understand it. Cause nah, that's twisted. That's some dark twisted shit.
Tradition, but you get what I mean. There is a meaning behind it. And so that's why December 2024, Haeyoung and her husband SJ, they are distributing rice cakes
like a
to
whole
everyone
year.
in their building.
Yeah.
They just got married.
I didn't really feel that long
Neighbors
ago.
in the building are actually kind of stunned because usually it's high schoolers who will come distribute the rice cakes because their parents are forcing them to do it, or it's elderly couples. But you never get two young couples who willingly, on their own accord, decide that they're going to pass out rice cakes. It's a tradition that's dying in the younger generations, so it's actually very cute. Haeyoung and her new husband are doing this, and if you ask anybody about Haeyoung, if you ask anybody about SJ, they're gonna say if anyone's gonna pass out rice cakes to their neighbors, it's gonna be them. Haeyoung and SJ got married December 2024. One of Haeyoung's friends had stood up during their wedding to make this toast, and this is verbatim. Finally, a man worthy, a man with a big heart to embrace our Haeyoung. Seeing the way you look at Haeyoung, the way you talk to her, your tone of voice, the way you take care of her so attentively, I think as friends we realized maybe it's
You start seeing like, I don't want to like risk rewinding. Yeah, hold on. Let me rewind that a bit.
talk to her, your tone of voice,
She looked very happy in this photo, right?
the way you take care of her so attentively. I think
But then in this photo, she looks a bit more disturbed and not as happy.
as friends we realized maybe it's okay to let Haeyoung get married now. I hope you guys live happily. Maybe it has to do with the fact that they're 34 when they get married. It just feels like they were waiting for the right person. And because they're more established, they know what they want in life, they find the partner that fits perfectly. Haeyoung's older sister, Mimi, this is a pseudonym, she's very happy because she says, I mean, it was the wedding that Haeyoung always wanted. It was her dream day. It's her dream wedding venue. It's her dream wedding dress. She was just so happy. I was just so happy. And her husband, SJ, is calling our parents mom and dad. And it's just like one of those wholesome relationships. They kind of stand as an example for maybe why people should wait until their 30s to get married, because it feels like that's the time that you find your partner and everything is just kind of working out.
In their 30s. I thought it was like the 20s. What the hell? I mean, I guess it is different in other places, in other regions across the world. But yeah, they typically say that in like your 20s, that's like the most crucial time to go find like your significant other, and like to ensure that they're for you. I heard that as you get older, it becomes more harder. But I don't know. I mean, that's just based off of the statistics that I've read on the internet. But I don't know. I don't know. It depends on people's preferences.
They're both incredibly polite. They're diligent with work. They're very traditional when it comes to following customs. Example, the whole rice cake thing. Haeyoung's friends say, okay, sometimes it's awkward when you're hanging out with couples and then a wife or a husband snaps at the other party. And now the whole entire table is uncomfortable and it just feels like, ooh, someone's ego's getting hurt. Someone's going to get into a fight. It's a whole thing. But they say with SJ, he would just make it less awkward even for the whole friend group. He would just talk back lovingly, even when she's snappy, and say things like, see, are you guys seeing this? She has me totally wrapped around her finger. These are real messages between the couple. Haeyoung is asking about a gift that SJ had given her, and she says, what is this? Thank you, heart. He says, it's from my heart. Heart emoji. I love you, my woman. I love you too. Heart emoji. I miss you already. Me too. Like, it's just very,
Wow.
they text like they're still in the honeymoon phase. It's like they're
Yeah, it's like the early stage of a relationship where things are just pure happy and nothing's wrong with it. It's the whole lovey-dovey thing.
obsessed with each other. And then 2 months into being what people would call, maybe even jinx, the perfect marriage,
So like February 2025?
February 19th,
Oh.
Haeyoung texts SJ. I think divorce is the answer. Let's get divorce papers in the morning when we wake up.
Oh.
Exactly a month later, so now 3 months into their marriage, they are still not divorced, and Haeyoung's mom gets a phone call from SJ. Hello? She just hears him crying on the other end, and this is again, verbatim. Hello? What's going on? Why? What happened to Haeyoung? He's not responding. He's just dry heaving, sobbing. Talk to me. Tell me what happened. Another man clearly takes the phone, and his voice, I mean, this is a stranger, at least to Haeyoung's mom. She's never heard this man's voice before in her life. Ma'am? Ma'am? What happened to my Haeyoung? What's going on? I'm a police officer. Your daughter passed away between early yesterday morning and this afternoon.
Oh my god.
What is my son?
Imagine being the mother and then you hear this from a police officer. You imagine how traumatic and scary that shit would be? Hell no, man. Hell no.
I'm not doing right now. Can I talk to him? He's completely out of it right now, but you guys will need to discuss having Haeyoung's body moved to a
I
morgue
feel so
to
bad.
potentially be autopsied. Haeyoung's mom hears SJ in the background, and he's just like asking in a small voice, what do I do? What do I do? And as she's listening to SJ and this man have a conversation, she starts coming down. A lot of that earlier hysteria starts slipping away because this is not happening right now. I mean, none of this is real. And she's not disassociating, at least not in this moment. She thinks this whole thing is ridiculous. She's thinking, they're getting so fucking good at this.
Like a prank?
I mean, she's heard all of the news about it. Yeah. And she has to go from her hometown to Seoul to see Haeyoung, and she says, quote, I thought it was a voice phishing scam, really. I didn't shed a single tear until I got to Seoul because I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
People are getting calls that their elderly parents have been kidnapped and the hostage taker needs $500 to set them free, which is an insanely little amount of money for your mother-in-law dying. And so a lot of people will pay it. Or older parents are posting $9,000 bail amounts for their 20-something-year-old college-age child who somehow landed themselves in jail, except they didn't. They're actually just at a frat party and they're not picking up their phone. Others are a bit more unsettling. Parents will tuck their 10-year-old kid into bed for the night, and an hour later they get a phone call that their kid has been kidnapped. And naturally...
Now imagine that. Imagine you getting a call just randomly. It doesn't even matter if it's first thing in the morning, during the day, evening, it doesn't matter. You get a call, and then you find out that your kid got freaking kidnapped or abducted. Hell no. Hell nah.
They will rush into the room to check up on their kid who is blissfully unaware and asleep in this little bed, but you can hear their exact screams through the phone. The child is asleep, you can see that with your own two eyes, but you can also hear someone who sounds exactly like your child screaming through the phone. But with all these phone calls, there is a pattern. Everybody wants money. That's it, money.
Like the whole world is. You know, the whole world is corrupted with greed, full of greed. Everybody just thinks about money, 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 how much they can get. It like everything goes out the freaking window, sadly. And the thing is, bro, the whole world doesn't even need to be like that. But it's just like that because we need to survive off of money. If we don't got money, we can't do nothing. It's sad. It's sad and cruel.
There's not a single mention of money in the phone call that Haeyoung's mom received. Haeyoung's older sister, Mimi, and her mom, they start rushing to the apartment that Haeyoung had just moved in with her husband, the newlywed apartment where they just passed out rice cakes. And it's not a scam. Her daughter Haeyoung is dead, and nobody knows why. I mean, it doesn't make sense. She's 34 years old, she's healthy, she has no prior medical conditions, she has no ailments, she just dies in her sleep in her bed. What about SJ? He says he was sleeping outside on the couch outside of their bedroom and then left for work in the morning. He had no clue what happened. Just 3 months into their marriage, he's a widower? The most important role at a Korean funeral is the chief mourner. This is the person closest to the deceased. They will wear the white armbands, and this is the one that everyone sends their condolences to. The chief mourner has to greet guests. They have to lead all of these various ceremonies, and they just have to make all the hard decisions. In Korea, it's a huge emotional burden. Everyone is throwing their sadness at you. And you have to make sure that everything is done perfectly to make sure that your loved one passes on to the other side peacefully. So everything has to be in order, and you have to almost put your own sadness to the side. I mean, it's such a laborious position that a lot of funeral homes will have a small resting room for the chief mourner, because it's like a multi-day affair. It's just all day long. People will go to funerals, and there's food served at funerals. I guess kind of like a wake in America. And people will bow, and you have to stand right next to the casket as people are bowing and saying their goodbyes. It's just emotionally draining. People will walk into Korean
imagine that.
funerals, and before even saying anything, giving condolences, they will ask first, who is the chief mourner? You're getting all of this exhaustion and emotions thrown at you. And Haeyoung's older sister, Mimi, again, this is a fake name, Mimi is at the funeral. She's not the chief mourner. SJ is, the husband. But she's just distraught because she's like, I saw my younger sister a few hours before she died in bed. It doesn't make sense. If they go by the time of death on the autopsy, which is like maybe 6 in the morning, she saw her at like 3 in the morning. So it doesn't make any sense. Haeyoung, her husband SJ, they had met up with Haeyoung's older sister Mimi and Mimi's friend. So it's the 4 of them. They're out at a restaurant drinking until 3 in the morning, and she's explaining to everybody, asking questions. She's like, just a few hours earlier, we were having such a good time drinking together. So when I heard the news, I couldn't believe it. Well, did she notice anything weird about Haeyoung the night before? Like, she can't just be happy, healthy, and then suddenly pass away, right? Her sister says, quote, I was sitting right in front of her, face to face. If there had been any sort of injury or anything that seemed like she was sick, I would have asked her about it. She didn't even seem ill. She just said that night, oh, I'm tired, I'm on my period, but it's really heavy. So my body feels just exhausted and tired.
Oh.
And this is like a really weird period. That's it.
An
Which,
abnormal
again,
one?
is not like the most alarming thing. Lots of people will say, oh, I don't know what's... I mean, I've said that a million times.
I mean, I'm not a woman, so I can't sit here and say that I know what that feeling is like, so. But, yeah. Anytime they're saying that it feels like abnormal or feels like heavier than usual or weird, yeah, that is a huge cause of concern, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure you're going to need to go see a doctor ASAP if you're experiencing something remotely similar to that.
I don't know what's going on, but my cramps are like the worst this month. She did look tired, but not abnormally tired. Nothing that would be alarming where Haeyoung's older sister would say, oh, don't, like, go home early, don't even drink with us. It was just, oh, I'm just a little under the weather.
So at this point, there's no cause of death.
No.
Okay.
And SJ, I guess, is trying to lighten the mood that night and make his wife feel better because he's like, okay, well, everyone, let's eat, let's drink. Interestingly, he's not particularly a big drinker or someone who likes to stay out and get drunk, so it's rather surprising. But they did stay out for 3 rounds of drinks. They don't get back home. So Mimi and her friend actually drop off Haeyoung and SJ.
Uh-huh.
Because Mimi's friend was the DD. She's the designated driver.
Okay.
Haeyoung and her husband, they get home at 3:10 a.m. Haeyoung's sister says, I was too drunk to even remember getting home. My friend was the DD. We dropped off Haeyoung and SJ first. And then around 4 a.m., I know this, because the next day, Haeyoung had sent me a bunch of text messages. So Haeyoung is joking, kind of joking. Okay, it's like very sibling. But she's texting her a picture of Mimi, the older sister, passed out on the street.
Oh.
And with a message, you're so annoying! Exclamation, exclamation. Ugh, get some sleep and just get to work safely tomorrow. Still, you're so annoying. It's likely that people asked Mimi about SJ too, who is obviously the chief mourner at the funeral. But how was he? How is SJ handling all of this? Well, when I went to my sister's apartment, he was just sitting in the living room staring blankly. I kept asking him what happened.
Staring blankly.
And he wasn't in a state to talk. He just kept crying and saying, I don't know. In the midst of the funeral, a group of men walk in and they take SJ, the chief mourner, to the corner, which is kind of odd. Okay, usually you say your condolences just like where the chief mourner is standing, which is typically right next to all the flowers and the casket. But they take him to the side. And someone out of the like 5 guys surrounding the chief mourner, someone out of that group reaches into their pocket and takes out handcuffs and handcuffs SJ in front of his wife's family, his friends, his wife's casket. I mean, the minute it registers,
Oh,
everybody jumps up
damn.
and they're just staring. They're not really sure what to do, because also this is reminiscent of a very
I mean, in a situation like that, what could anybody do? Like, seriously, what could anybody do if they just go up and just arrest you for, like, no reason? Yeah, that's gonna be like a huge, like, head scratcher.
famous K-drama, Marry My Husband, where after the wife is deceased, the husband gets arrested.
She came home from the chemotherapy and caught her husband and her best friend in bed. I'm gonna have to watch that one next. If you guys want me to react to that one, yeah, just be sure to let me know in the comments.
At her funeral.
Right.
Before
okay.
she's reincarnated. So, I mean, I don't know, but everyone is just, I mean, this is the thing that is said in hindsight by a lot of people. So everybody is jumping up, they're staring, they don't really know what to do, but they're panicked. These are detectives. You're being arrested on suspicion of murdering your wife, Haeyoung. The people interviewed at Haeyoung's funeral would say it felt unreal. It felt disconnected from reality. It almost felt theatrical in a weird way.
Theatrical.
Because SJ instantly, as he's being dragged out of the funeral home, he's screaming, "It's not me! Mother-in-law, like, 어머니, you have to believe me, it's not me." And then with his hands cuffed behind his back, he does a 90-degree bow to Haeyoung's father. And he's like, I'll be back, it's not me." And then his eyes are wide open. He looks hysterical. He looks bug-eyed. And then Haeyoung's sister, Mimi, and her friends notice the corner of his lips lift up.
What?
Like he can't help but smile.
What?
There is a website that talks about how to have the perfect marriage, how to satisfy both partners, and
You mean to tell me the homeboy's the Joker? Talking about he can't help but smile. What?
union,
Huh?
and it reads, "A wife cannot flatly refuse her husband. She may only ask for a rain check, and then she needs to make good on that rain check as quickly as possible. A husband has the right to confront his wife's sexual refusal as a sin, not only against him, but also against God. A husband ought not to feel guilty for having sex with his wife when she is not in the mood if she yields, even grudgingly. A husband needs to use prayerful discernment to discover if her reasons for, quote, not being in the mood are for legitimate physical or mental health reasons, or if the problem is wrong thinking and wrong attitude on the part of his wife." Listen, I'm not a religious person, nor do I think the blog author of this website is a religious person either. However, with an appropriate amount of common sense, I can easily tell you that if you have to ask God why your wife doesn't want to sleep with you, the problem is within. But because this man knows how to write words and string together somewhat grammatically correct.
There could be a lot of reasons on why somebody may not want to sleep with somebody. It could primarily due to what they endured in their childhood, because you know a lot of messed up shit goes on in a person's life, especially from their youth all the way to adulthood. You know, trauma is a real thing. Like a lot of people, they go through that shit, and they don't even think or consider that whatsoever. They just think about what they can get in the moment and like how they can get pleasure. That is it. That is it, really. And then there's also the other factor that they could have like a disease, but you don't know about it. You don't know about it until they confess, talk to you about it. You know, it's a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit that we don't know, but you just gotta respect them. And if you don't want to be with somebody who doesn't, you know, give you what you want, like sexual wise, you might need to reconsider your relationship with that person. You know, and I'm not saying that it's a good thing to walk away or anything like that, but if you feel like you're not being valued like everyone should be in a relationship, then yeah, just walk away and move on. Don't cheat, or most importantly, do not kill the person. if they don't give you what you want. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Sentences, he wants the world to see and applaud his very mediocre grasp of the English language. He continues, if her reasons are legitimate, then she needs to seek medical or psychological help as soon as possible. Most people think of sexual immorality as only someone having sex outside of marriage. But remember that when something is immoral, that means it is a sin. And we know that sexual
Immoral, yeah.
denial in marriage is a sin. Therefore, it is accurate to call willful sexual denial in marriage an act of sexual immorality. Intelligence is not a requirement to have access to a working keyboard, to clickety-clack. And unfortunately, stupidity is something that some people, like this author, can work towards being the best at, truly excel at. After all, it is a man's prerogative, right? He continues, biblically speaking, the husband is the spiritual authority in his home, and he has the biblical obligation to first attempt to discipline his wife, as she is his responsibility. Only when he has exhausted all forms of discipline and she remains defiant and divorce is looming should he approach a counselor to act as a witness to her sin. It goes on to say the forms of discipline a husband should use if the wife does not want to have intimate relations with the husband is not to take a shower, to take a self-help class, not to get your own ducks in order because something's probably wrong with you. They say stop taking her on dates or trips.
Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Just stop taking her on dates and trips. What? Stop planning. Stop giving her attention. Don't show her no love. Be nonchalant. That's the whole vibe I'm pretty much getting at it from there. But like, damn, that's wow, wow. They have their own crazy rules. I can see.
Another step
There.
includes, those dinners that you cook or the vacuuming you do? Just like basic chores of someone who lives in a place of shelter and they should be doing. Those things that really she should be doing, but you have simply been trying to be nice and doing for her? Stop doing them. Stop giving her those nice back and shoulder
Yeah, pretty
massages
much.
she loves so much.
Yeah, like I said, pretty much to stop caring and for her. Stop caring and venturing for her. Stop planning. Don't do anything for her.
And then it says, if she is financially dependent on you, remove all funding for her aside from food and shelter. And if she still doesn't listen, the last few steps are rebuke her before witnesses and bring her before the church.
What? What?
They end it with a good old, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Well, once you bought the cow, you are supposed to get the milk for free. I fear that this website is not reflective of Christian values or Christian husbands or happy husbands. However, it is reflective of people who do exist in the ether. There are married partners out there who firmly believe that after marriage, they are entitled to sex. There is a whole subreddit that you can go on.
Yeah, I wouldn't go on to sit here and say that once you marry somebody, that doesn't mean that you could just have sex with them anytime, any day, every day, whatever. But they do say that, of course, like in the Bible and like religion, it is best to wait until you marry your partner to have sex with them. They always encourage that and they push that on young people especially, and that's why some people in this generation they wait until marriage to have sex. But not everyone is like that. Most of these kids in this generation, oh my God, they don't know what the true meaning of love and all that it really is. It's all just lust, and they want to have sex like immediately. And if you don't have sex with them, then they're gonna cheat, and then they're gonna do whatever. They're gonna resort to ghosting. They're gonna do whatever. Like dating in this generation is just so bad, and you can blame technology for that. It's ruined a lot of things for most people. Expectations are just set too damn high. People get caught up into thinking irrationally. They think, oh, maybe I should just ghost this person. Maybe I should just stop giving my full undivided attention to them. Let them chase after me. And then I might consider wanting to talk to them. But it should never be like that. They treat it as a business, and I said this in my advice video where I was discussing about self-respect and boundaries. If you haven't watched that, I will provide a link to it at the end of this video to where you can watch that. But yeah, it's messed up. It's really messed up here. And I'm not even gonna sit here and say that I'm a full-on like religious person, but I do believe in God because He made all of us. He comes first. But everyone has their own different beliefs and all that. So I don't want to really like talk too much about that because on this channel I don't want to steer into politics or religion. I just want to give you guys a good message, a good powerful message on what you guys can do to potentially change your lives for the better for those who are struggling or going through things, because there's a lot of lost people out there that need help but just can't get it.
Called r/change my view, and we've talked about this forum before, but people go there to never change their view. Like, nobody ever changes their view on there. They go to get off on the arguments in the comments. I don't know why this sub even exists, okay, but it is interesting to read, so I get the appeal. However, views are never changed, and the way that the posts are written, you start thinking, how could you have a separate view aside from this one? That doesn't make sense. One Reddit post reads, "Change my view. Marriage does not entitle anyone to sex. In the old days, men were legally allowed to R-word women within marriage. It was not considered R-word at all." It goes on to continue and argue.
You see right there, that's crazy irrational way of thinking right there. Like, how is it that you're gonna have sex with somebody, right? But the other person doesn't agree to it. But then you still force yourself on them. That doesn't make it right. It should be a mutual thing. It should always be a mutual thing. But yeah, like I said, out there in Korea and I'm pretty sure other regions, the laws and rules out there are completely fucked up. Unlike, America and everywhere else. America, we get away with a lot of stuff. We get away with a whole lot. So I can't sit here and be the one to like judge or whatever, but I know that is messed up though. That is for sure messed up.
That in order for our word culture to be undone, we are going to have to reconceive marriage utterly in such a way that nobody will ever be under pressure to give up their rights to their body and let their bodies be taken in marriage, which I don't really think is a hot take. There were some arguments for like,
even a
semantic
hot take.
interpretation of the post, but one person, probably a guy, responded.
Most people will, like, the moment they read something like that, yeah, they will immediately get turned off. Like, what? Like, that shouldn't even be, like, a whole question. That shouldn't even start up debates on the internet on whether that's right or wrong. R-wording, essaying, that is wrong. If you think that shit's right, it's not right at all.
How far does your view extend? Does it say extend to marriage doesn't guarantee you access to
and it doesn't even matter if you're married
resources?
to the person.
I love when people just like have imaginary money that they're hoarding from like potential gold diggers. What are we talking about right now? Just like make-believe stuff? But they go on, or is it just your view that sex is the only place you get a choice? Another person has a less polarizing yet differing viewpoint, writing,
wow,
depends on what you consider entitled to. Everyone is entitled to be in a relationship that meets their...
And of course, all these messages are on Reddit. Like, Reddit is by far the worst place to go to get advice on relationships and just life in general. Because people out there, they're horrible. They're horrible. There's a lot of incels on that platform, as well as Twitter especially. That's why I don't really feed into any like social media especially. And it's like I'm honestly like convinced that people would be saying shit like this for just shock value and attention, but they don't genuinely mean it. But they just do it for attention, like I said. Cause it's like that's fucked up. It's some fucked up shit people be saying.
Emotional and physical needs. This includes sex. If the relationship doesn't meet said needs, whatever they may be, then a person has the right to complain, to discuss it, to work it out, or to leave if the needs cannot be met. So while you are correct that marriage does not give you the right to R-word someone by forcing them to have sex, you are entitled to have your emotional and physical needs for intimacy and sex met by your spouse and to be disgruntled if they're not doing so. Another one responds very weirdly. I agree, but I must ask, why the hell would you marry or stay married to someone who doesn't want to have sex with you? Another person
I
writes,
mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Like I say, if you feel like that you need to have sex with your partner to feel loved, feel validated, feel appreciated, then yeah, it's fine just to walk away and divorce the person because why be married to somebody if you're unhappy? You should always feel happy being with whoever you decide to marry. And if they're not down for it, then yeah, just move on and find someone else that can give you what you want. There's no harm in that, but don't go on here and be saying that, oh, she doesn't want to have sex with me. Okay, well, I need to do this in order to make her no, you should never force yourself onto anybody.
I would
Always
say
get their
this is
consent.
basically part of the marital contract. I mean, you're basically just friends or roommates otherwise, which you wouldn't need all the legal complications of marriage for that. So,
God, my
yeah,
allergies are
you are
kicking in.
entitled to sex from your partner.
Rotten mango. Alright, let's resume this.
And then you click on, like, a suggested change my view. A woman who expects her husband to completely devote himself sexually to her, yet refuses to have sex with him, is both selfish and cruel. If a woman refuses to have intimate relations with her husband, the husband then has every moral right to check out women, flirt, view videos, and even in certain cases, cheat. A woman has every right to refuse sex if she doesn't want it, but freedom to choose also means a prohibition on a man from having any sexual outlet whatsoever is very wrong. Cheating is a violation of exclusive sexual intimacy, but in a sexless marriage, there is no sexual intimacy had.
Wow.
I will say that aside from people having medical conditions or some sort of psychological reasoning of not
Or a disease, or like I said earlier, trauma. Yeah, it makes sense on why they wouldn't want to have sex, but everybody's different. I can't speak for everybody. I don't want to speak for everybody, but it is usually common sense just to do, like I said, like leave the partner if you feel like you're not being appreciated or your needs aren't being met. Simple as that.
not wanting to be intimate with their partner. Typically, your partner not wanting to be intimate with you is usually something wrong with you, if that makes sense. Like these husbands, I would say that this is not the majority of married couples or reflective of husbands or anything like that. It's just such an odd thing. It's weird. But there are people that are very serious about it, not even just on r/change my view. There are people that will write things on Reddit like, if you get married, you are essentially signing away your sexual consent in exchange for financial and emotional and relationship stability. If neither party is ready to give up on their autonomy, then they shouldn't get married, because breaking those technically voids the marriage contract. Saying no to a husband simply isn't an option unless you're physically incapable, which might be the case after an argument or if you're sick or whatever. With a boyfriend, all bets are off. You didn't say any vows. Do what you want. Remember when, honey, I have a headache, used to be something people joked about? That was back when the marriage commitment was taken more seriously, and that was only 10-ish years ago. Nowadays, you don't
A whole decade, which, yeah, in hindsight, it doesn't really feel like it was that long ago, but yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
even need an excuse to turn your husband down, and it's disgusting that this has become acceptable in society after people have made marriage vows stating the opposite. The more alarming part is there are a lot of women who agree with this viewpoint, and there's a Reddit thread where one woman writes,
Oh,
I told
God.
my friends I'd never say no to intimate relations except for serious illness or injury, which my husband wouldn't ask for intimate relations if that were actually painful or dangerous. But there are times when I'm tired and technically not in the mood, sure, but I would never say no. My
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine to be tired. Like, yeah, if your partner wants to have sex, but you're not feeling up to it because you had a long day at work, you're just feeling drained and tired, there's nothing wrong with saying no. They just have to listen and respect your wish for that.
friends felt like that was horrible and degrading. I think a lot of couples are in the never say no camp, not because they're not allowed to say no, but just because like people have good times with their partners, and usually your partner will know when to initiate, and by that point everybody's in the mood, everyone's excited, so you don't really end up saying no. But the reasoning that she gives for never saying no, This is her life. It's her dream, but it's interesting. She writes, the way I see it is before marrying my husband, he could have sex with so many women. He made the choice to marry me and just be with me. As a good wife, I want him to feel I'm available to him whenever he wants and needs. Even if I'm tired, I put in effort. If he's in the sauna and the other men are complaining about their sexless marriages, I want him to be able to say, oh.
Yeah, I ain't about to read all that shit out loud, but yeah, because, you know, YouTube is very weird with their community guidelines. But yeah.
My wife never says no. A fake, imaginary, steamy, hot, sweaty sauna session between a bunch of dudes is like the strangest thing to revolve your life around as a wife, but like here we are. Unfortunately, this seems to be a much bigger sentiment than I thought. SJ falls directly into this group. His friends say, SJ had some unique outlooks on marriage, relationships. He would say to us all the time, if I can't have sex with my wife, where am I supposed to get it? Should I go pay for it? But like, he was drunk, you know, or he would say things like, look, if I want to, she needs to do it. That's what marriage is. But again, he was drunk, so maybe he didn't mean it. 4 months before getting married, Haeyoung and SJ are on their way back from a big group friend vacation in Vietnam. This is August of 2024. They land touchdown at Incheon Airport in South Korea. Haeyoung feels odd. She goes to the restroom, and within minutes, there are ambulances outside of the airport. She is being rushed out. There is blood everywhere. It is so much blood to make any sense, because it doesn't make sense, because she's miscarrying. 6 months into dating Haeyoung, SJ and Haeyoung had gotten pregnant. They actually found out a few days before going to Vietnam. This is like a trip that they had planned for weeks with their friends. But Haeyoung, who has always wanted to start a family, she's so happy about being pregnant. She even immediately asked, so in Korea you get like the pregnant woman badge and you can use it at subway stations or like on the train or in public transport, because a lot of women don't show immediately, or during winter you don't see it. And it's in Korea, it's a big deal. You do not sit in the pregnant woman section if you're not pregnant. So that's why they hand out these badges. Wow. She even got that. She got all these pamphlets about her pregnancy, and she keeps asking her doctor, like, are you sure I'm safe to travel? Just to give you some context, I think she found out a week before, like a few days before she's set to go to Vietnam. The doctor is like, you're gonna be fine. I mean, everybody is different. However, you're gonna be fine. You're cleared for travel. This should not be alarming. You're very early into your pregnancy. You're gonna be okay. It's not even that long of a flight. Haeyoung dots all of her I's, she crosses all of her T's, and then when she touches back in Seoul, the baby that she had wanted so badly, she ends up miscarrying.
Oh,
but this is the part where it's just like odd. There is a text message from SJ to Haeyoung the day after she miscarries, and it reads, it's fine as long as you and I are healthy. We can make another baby. I feel so inadequate and foolish. I'm so sorry. Why would he need to apologize? Is he just apologizing because...
Yeah, I'm confused too. Like, why did he apologize for that? Huh?
She's going through something so traumatic?
Right.
Haeyoung's friends say, when she was pregnant, he wanted to do it. They did it once after she found out she was pregnant and there was a little bit of blood, and so she was really worried for the baby. So she kept refusing to have intimate relations after that. They fought about it, and she told us that she ended up having sex again even though she didn't want to. And then she ended up miscarrying. Nurses see a lot. That's an understatement. Nurses have probably seen more of me than my own husband, which sounds crazy, but my husband has never pried my mouth open, shoved a flashlight down my throat to see if there is like a foreign body lodged in my throat after a particularly intense meal. Okay, so these nurses, they see a lot, and they see a lot about people's personalities, especially couples. One Reddit thread from a nurse writes, husbands in the delivery room often do more harm than good. In my view, the husband in the delivery room often can't provide meaningful support and may even create more stress. Many people frame fathers being in the delivery room as a romantic or heroic act, as if witnessing every moment is required to be a good dad. In reality, the practical benefit to the mother is often minimal. A husband who stays outside, handling logistics, communicating with family members can actually provide more meaningful support. which you have a lot of people disagreeing. I would also disagree,
A
saying
lot of
that
people would
women
disagree
are
with
the
that.
most safe in medical situations, especially childbirth, when they're relaxed and comfortable and feel supported. However, there are a lot of nurses fighting back saying, yeah, in a perfect world,
In a
but
perfect
most
world.
husbands, they're on their phones the entire time while their wife is in labor.
Labor.
Or sometimes they're causing more distress, making their wives feel more pressure, or they're not being helpful with other family members that are hounding, giving their 10 cents to the wife about how they should approach childbirth. One woman writes, my husband went downstairs to charge his phone and call his mom from the car. When I called him an hour later because I was 9 centimeters dilated, he said that he was at Sam's buying Tupperware.
What?
What?
Tupperware. Another wife writes, my husband asked if he could borrow one of my pillows because his back hurt and I had too many. The nurses see it all. And for Haeyoung, it's not just a miscarriage, which is already very traumatizing. Haeyoung actually suffers from a very rare condition that only 1 in 30,000 women have, where she has a miscarriage, which a miscarriage is when you have a fertilized egg in the uterus.
She's really explaining
And
this.
the pregnancy is not going to come full term, so you miscarry, right?
I mean, I guess some people don't know what it is. So yeah, I'm not mad at her for explaining it to those.
She also has an ectopic pregnancy at the same time. So Haeyoung's ectopic pregnancy goes unnoticed for a while because this is really rare. So if you don't know, an ectopic pregnancy is when you have a fertilized egg, but it doesn't end in the uterus. It's outside the uterus. A lot of the times it's in the fallopian tube. And this is very dangerous.
Oh, that
You
sounds
can
painful.
Die. You can very easily die if you have an ectopic pregnancy because that fertilized egg is going to start growing. And a fallopian tube is not like a uterus where it's meant to bear a child. It's not going to stretch. So what it'll do is it'll burst. And then you will be heavily internally bleeding until probably you die unless you get emergency help. It's very dangerous. So she has an ectopic pregnancy outside of the uterus, and she had a miscarriage inside the uterus. So with all of that, a lot of the symptoms of the ectopic pregnancy, she thought that it was from the miscarriage. So it goes for a very long time that she doesn't realize that she has this life-threatening condition. And eventually, once it is realized, there has been so much damage done that the doctors tell her that they need to have emergency surgery and remove that fallopian tube.
Oh my
When was
god, that sounds so painful.
This is before the wedding, so this is like a month after, so around.
For any of you out there who experienced something like this or have experienced like this, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I can't even imagine going through that pain. Holy shit.
September.
There's so much happening. Like they came
Way
back
too
from
much going on.
Vietnam. She miscarried, and then the surgery, and then the wedding,
Yeah.
And the wedding.
and then 3 months later. This is just
In 6
God.
months. So Haeyoung is texting her sister
All in
about
such a
what's
short
going
amount
on.
of time.
I had surgery with 1 fallopian tube removed. There were also 2 uterine cysts when they opened it up, and they were black and about to burst. So in Korea, it's not as common in the United States. I think in the US, I mean, they'll probably charge you $5 billion for it, but a lot of the times, the nurse's duty to feed patients who cannot eat by themselves. In South Korea, unless you're in very specific, like intensive care units, a lot of the times, it's up to the family members to feed the patient. So the nurses, they will bring all the nutritious hospital meals that have all of the requirements, and they'll make sure that you're eating, and they'll check up on you. But a lot of the times, unless you're in like the ICU, a lot of the nurses depend on the family members to provide care. So family members will do shifts. If you've got work, then someone's doing like a breakfast shift. If someone's doing a lunch shift, someone's doing a dinner shift. It's just a thing that happens in Korea. I don't know if it's embedded in the healthcare system or if it's just like a societal thing that is built into the communities and the families. I don't know, but it's a thing. So every time Haeyoung is recovering from the surgery, she's laying there. Every time the nurses bring food, Haeyoung doesn't want to eat. She has no appetite. She doesn't want to do this. She's exhausted. And it's up to the family member to airplane that spoon, to beg, to plead, to negotiate that your loved one eat the hospital food. SJ's supposed to be spoon feeding her, but because she doesn't want to eat, he is sitting there eating every single meal that gets delivered, and every single nurse that walks by is judging the shit out of him. Haeyoung has no appetite. She feels too weak to eat, and eventually she's getting annoyed by him. She's sick of seeing his face, and she tells him, you know what, go home and just feed the dogs. He ends up going home. She checks the home camera, and he's not just feeding the dogs. He ordered himself a pizza, plopped on the couch, and is watching TV and munching while she's recovering from this
the
ectopic pregnancy,
pain.
which he got her pregnant.
Wow, just no fucks given, huh? That's crazy. That is crazy. I don't get how some people can just do something like that and then just be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna eat my pizza and just watch her go through the pain and agony rather than just actually being there. What the fuck?
Just at home eating
Some people
pizza.
make me sick, bro.
So understandably, with all of this like trauma and pain and the emotions,
Some people actually
Haeyoung
make me
tells her
sick.
friends she just feels really disappointed in him. Like, she just doesn't like this.
It's
But
yeah,
worse
who
is that
wouldn't?
1 month after this, so this is again still before the marriage, 1 month after, there are text messages between the two where Haeyoung is telling him, ever since the pregnancy and the miscarriage, my body has been so weak. Everything changed suddenly. It's been hard to adjust. There's just, I'm just exhausted. He responds, when we're tired, we should support and lean on each other. Yeah, what you're saying is right, but you only want one form of affection expression, and I only have one body. So he's saying, you and I are both tired.
What the fuck? Nah, man. The fact that you need to explain that to somebody and they're so caught up in their own needs is so selfish of them. That is so incredibly selfish.
And when couples are tired, we need to depend on each other. And she's like, the only way that you think you can depend on me is for sex. I can't have sex right now.
That's crazy. So he's asking for sex.
Yes.
Basically.
Ridiculous.
1 month after the surgery, she texts him, if we tried it once and it hurts, shouldn't you think that maybe my body hasn't recovered yet? It hasn't even been a month yet. The scar on the outside of my body hasn't healed. How could the wound inside my uterus be healed?
How could you think you want to have sex with, your wife going through surgery and the scar not being healed? Like, what? What? Oh no, like this is already making my stomach hurt.
SJ responds, well, the doctor said we should return to daily life in a month.
That is crazy.
Which, by the way, that is a suggestion. Crazy. Doctors are all over the place. Some doctors, I was on Reddit of women who were recovering from similar surgeries.
That's so fucked up, man.
They say their doctor said 2 weeks you can return to normal life. Some people said a month, 6 weeks, and these are guidelines. Usually, the rule of thumb is when you want to return to normal life, especially when it comes to sex, because it's not like, oh, my arm broke, I can't have sex for a month. It's like you're talking about the exact same body parts. Haeyoung feels like this is happening because of an act we did together, but alone I have to suffer, and yet my body is still an object of desire for you. Like, it doesn't make sense. She's texting her friends in frustration. After the miscarriage and the fallopian tube removal, it hasn't even been a month, but the doctor said it was okay to have intercourse after a month. So he's whining, and we did it, and I didn't say anything, but it just really hurts my feelings. Her friends are upset. Why didn't you say anything? Someone else is responding, God, this must be really hard for you. Haeyoung texts SJ, stop whining. And like this, I will say, okay, usually there are different Korean words. Sometimes there's not like the exact word that you can use in English. When you have someone who is complaining, like a husband who's complaining, it's a very different vibe. But the word she uses is like, 찡찡. 찡찡거려. It's like, very much like when kids are like jing jing, like like I want to do this, I want to do it. Like that's the word she uses. Otherwise, you could use stop complaining, stop nagging. Like there's other words you could use, but 찡찡거려ing is very.
It's basically just the whole whiny, like, oh, like I want it now, basically, like. Give it like okay. Yeah, I pretty much get what she's saying.
Infantile.
Nagging,
it's like what kids
wanting.
do. Like you really only use it. I would say that my parents treat me like a giant child still, but they still don't tell me don't 찡찡거려 because it's such a specific thing.
Like stop being a baby.
Yeah, it's very like it's not just whining. It's like very
Yeah, that's so weird.
It's like that rhythmic tantrum usually.
Yeah.
Because ding ding, it's almost like an onomatopoeia. It's like a sound.
Mm-mm.
And he responds, if I don't initiate skinship first, we never have skinship. Skinship, by the way, is like the Korean term for touch and sexual
Touching.
activities. They call it skinship.
Okay.
I'm just asking you to love me as much as I love you, or even just a little. There's a
What the hell happened to my little? What the fuck? Hey. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Okay.
famous Pilates studio in South Korea called Diana Pilates. It's a 6,000 square foot. It uses the entire 9th floor of a glass down building. I mean, you see the whole view of the other buildings, the mountains in the back. It's beautiful. A lot of good K-dramas were filmed inside of this studio. I feel like it was really popular during the Pilates hype during COVID. And then they started doing some reinvention. Once the reformer Pilates started slowing down, they went into flying Pilates, which is when you put on the bungee cord and you just...
Oh, yeah, the one that you hop around.
Yeah,
right?
What
I mean,
in the
I don't know.
world?
I think it was really popular in Korea. I think that it's probably not a tried and true tested form of working out. In the sense of, I'm sure you get a lot of results, but it becomes like a thing where people don't know about it or they have to find out about it. It almost feels like a trend. You know how there's always trends for workouts?
Yeah.
So they switched to this, a lot of the flying Pilates, and eventually the membership does take a dive with Diana Pilates. And then this definitely makes it worse. There's a new notice on the front door that reads, following the traffic accident, the director, SJ. His spouse has passed away, and SJ remains in critical condition in the ICU. The current owner of the building, who knows of the director's sincerity, has arranged it so that the members can continue using the facilities without any inconvenience or charge. Members may rest assured and continue using the premises as usual. We will continue to repay you with a better environment and service. We ask for your attention and your support.
Wait, is he the owner or he's the...
Yes, SJ is the owner of this Pilates branch.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
and
interesting.
this notice goes up after Haeyoung dies, but there was no car accident.
Right.
Haeyoung did not die in a car accident. SJ is not in the ICU. In fact, he's getting arrested as the main suspect for Haeyoung's murder.
Oh, so they're trying to hide it, hide the fact. I see.
SJ is defensive. He's asking the officer, "What are you saying? That I did this?" We didn't say that. But was Haeyoung sick? And these are direct quotes. "Why are you asking me? What did I do wrong?" SJ tells the police, I have no idea what happened that night. He explains they came home after drinking, and even with drinking, Haeyoung has really intense insomnia. So the typical routine is that he sleeps outside on the couch until she can fall asleep inside the bedroom, and then he'll quietly go into the bedroom and sleep. She has trouble falling asleep, but once she's asleep, she's not a light sleeper. He goes into the room a few hours later, and he knows for certain she's knocked out. He's like, which by the way, I'm not like awake for all of this. I fell asleep with the TV on outside in the sofa. I woke up.
Yeah, like I'm the same type too. That cannot go to sleep unless I have like a YouTube video playing in the background or like my TV's on. And that's just me. I mean, it's just probably because of the fact that like when I grew up, I was just always scared of the dark. I mean, I'm not scared of the dark now as like an adult, obviously, but it's just like I got so used to like having things on in the background where it's like it's so weird for me to just now go to sleep without, anything. Not that I'm saying that I can't go to sleep without anything on. It's just it just feels weird now. Just going to sleep in pure silence. Yeah, that's just me though.
Early in the morning to go use the restroom, and that's when I was like, oh, she's definitely asleep. Let me go sleep in the bedroom. I moved back into the bedroom. I lay down next to Haeyoung, and then I wake back up to go to work, and she's still asleep, so I'm letting her sleep in. He explains that when he gets to work, however, normally Haeyoung will wake up a little bit after that, even if she had been drinking the night before, but she doesn't text. He calls her 4 times around 2 p.m. She doesn't pick up. How are you still asleep till 2 p.m.? He's like, this is weird. He runs home. She's dead on the bed. He calls emergency services, and that's all he knows. He doesn't know anything else. I mean, to some degree, this is all very trackable. There is CCTV footage of him leaving the apartment to go to work at around 10 in the morning. His body language looks nonchalant.
10 a.m. in the
Very
morning.
nonchalant.
Yeah.
But she was
Like he's trying to order for her.
she has passed since 6.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And he looks really relaxed. He starts walking in the direction that work is. But when the police ask his employees if he got there as he normally does, they say, well, no, March 13th was weird. He didn't come in. He usually comes into the studio by 11, but he wasn't there. He did text me though. So one of the Pilates instructors is like, he texted me around like 1:30 asking me about my paycheck. It was just like a normal conversation about the pay stub. That was it. Then he calls his wife 4 times. She doesn't pick up. He rushes home and then calls emergency services. Hae-young's friends have problems with this because it's very nonsensical. What do you mean? A completely healthy 30-year-old woman who, by the way, she has been very health conscious. She's not the type to notice something wrong with her body and hope for the best. She's getting a checkup. What do you mean she just passes away in her sleep? She didn't drink heavily the night before.
Yeah, nothing like that just happens randomly.
It's not like she threw up. There's no evidence of throw up. There's no evidence that she was so drunk she couldn't get up and she choked on her vomit, which is a very real concern. She just passes away peacefully. There's just no way. Looking at the autopsy results, she has a bruise on her upper lip on the left side, a faint, very faint bite on her lower lip. So again, these are all things that she could have self-inflicted as maybe she's choking or asphyxiating. But one thing you can't explain is this very faint red line around her neck.
Oh.
Are we supposed to believe that she was wearing a scarf when she went to sleep? Or that there was a random string on the bed that she laid in, rolled over, somehow tied it around her neck to asphyxiate on by herself?
Nah,
It
that's
doesn't make
too weird.
sense.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
One of the neighbors in the building, the one right below Hae-young and SJ, they say that night they did hear something weird. So much so that they even reached out to Hae-young the next day to make sure everything was okay. Well, what did you hear? We're light sleepers, pretty sensitive. So we normally actually just block out normal life sounds. So if we hear someone thumping or it sounds like someone dropped their phone or stomping, you kind of learn to disregard it living in an apartment. But that night, it was a strange and unfamiliar sound. It felt like something dragging, like heavy, like if you were to drag furniture, but it doesn't make like you know how furniture legs will make like the squeaky sounds?
Yeah.
It's not that, it's like if you were to drag a mattress. It's like fabric or like just something heavy and soft.
What?
And then we heard this really weird flapping sound. It was kind of like 파다거리는 소리, like 파다거리는 like a bird. Okay, so the word is like
what the fuck?
Like the bird wings trying to flap, but you're holding onto the bird. That's kind of the feeling. It's like a flapping noise. It's not like a thumping noise, it's like a flapping noise. It's a very specific noise. And like that you just don't expect that to hear from a neighbor in the middle of Seoul. And then a strange like noise. Like almost as if someone is like breathing out. Like
That's really like clear. They can hear very clearly.
Wow.
And it sounded like a woman, it didn't sound like a man. And that lasted maybe about like 30 seconds. They didn't think much of it. They might have thought if it was something else, maybe. But the next morning, they see a bunch of police officers, so they start freaking out. And that's when they text Hae-young, and they find out that she's gone. Yeah.
The flapping noise, how long did you say it lasted?
That they don't know. Okay. But they say
it
it lasted
30.
a while. Like and then it sounded like choking for like 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
There are home cameras inside the house, which is typically odd. People don't really like to have home cameras inside, especially with a lot of recent developments. So this was earlier in 2025, but recent developments of a lot of South Korean home cameras getting hacked for intimate websites, like illegal websites. But Hae-young had these 2 dogs. And they were 15. She's had them for 15 years. So she just wanted to make sure they're okay when she's out at work. Her family is like, we gotta look at the house cameras. If we don't know what happened in the house, just look at the house cameras. They get Hae-young's phone. Not only is the footage gone, the app for the house camera is gone. It's like if someone has a Ring camera, you get their phone and the Ring app has been deleted.
Wow.
What do you mean? So eventually, SJ changes his story because none of this is adding up. The asphyxiation, the way that she died, the evidence, there's no evidence that an intruder had entered the home. The home cameras had been deleted. He is the only one that could have done something. He changes his story and he says, fine, I killed my wife, but it was an accident.
How do you wait? Hold on. How do you accidentally kill your wife? What? What? Make that make sense.
He says that they had gotten into a drunk fight, and all he did was push her because she was trying to get physical, and that
Oh
led to her hitting her
nah.
head and passing away.
Oh no,
The
this
injuries
piece of
don't line
shit.
up with that story. She doesn't have any lacerations on the back of her head. How do you explain the marking around her neck? How do you explain the fact that her cause of death
This
was manual
piece of shit.
asphyxiation? And what's crazy is he starts blaming Haeyoung. He says that she was looking down on his family. So he actually got upset, not because he is a volatile, violent man, but because he had to defend his family. This is like family honor. He had to stand up for them. SJ will later try to claim that he had read messages on Haeyoung's phone where she is talking to her girlfriends about his disabled mother, and that because of his disabled mother, Haeyoung did not want to have kids with him because she was concerned this is a condition that could be passed down to their child. Authorities go through their chat logs. This is what they find. Haeyoung texts her friend. So he's saying she's like a filthy person. She's evil. She was shit talking my disabled mother.
Wow.
She texts her friends.
Wow.
My mother-in-law can hardly speak or walk. When I go there,
Wow.
I just end up sitting with her for a while.
Oh
before
my
coming back.
god, I cannot believe what
But
I'm
Esther
hearing.
says he's happy that I talk to her and I make her smile. Then later in the group chat, Haeyoung texts her friends, "Why did I marry this piece of shit?" So it's like no one really responds.
Scumbag.
And then she texts this.
Yeah.
He's trying to argue it's because of his disabled mother. She's texting that. But just listen to the rest of the messages. Why? What happened? I'm not getting pregnant by this motherfucker. I'm not going to have his baby. Huh? Actually, I would rather get pregnant and not have to have sex with him for a whole year. He actually argued with me, saying, "You promised twice a week. Why aren't you keeping your word?" Wait, but it's not like you guys aren't doing it. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's not like I refused for a whole month or anything. We did it. And then the next day, the shithead just keeps starting again. He's just completely obsessed with sex. I feel like he's lost his mind.
Sounds like he's a whole sex addict. Really? I mean, that's what this whole thing really boiled down to. Homeboy is a sex addict. Like, what? Wow. But in his case, it was severe to the point where he was a psychopath. He was a whole ass psychopath.
Why did you even marry him then? Another friend chimes in. I mean, you must have married him because there was something good about him, right? I thought he would be a good husband. I didn't know he was sex obsessed. Clearly, she still wants to have children with him, though, because later she writes, "The doctor said it would be better to remove
Sorry,
my other
guys.
fallopian
I'm still
tube
paying
too, but
attention.
they told me that they could go ahead in the surgery and get rid of both, but I told them I would discuss it with my husband first and then get discharged. Either way, I think I'm gonna try IVF." But as the police go further down into their text logs, they find more messages from Haeyoung to SJ because, I mean, none of these motives make any sense. It's clear that he did not accidentally kill her in a drunken fight, which, not that that would absolve anything, but it just doesn't make any sense. Haeyoung's messages to SJ read, "But we always end up fighting because of physical contact." He responds, "I want to be close to you because I love you. If two people love each other and feel good together, isn't it natural to have sex?" I don't
He's manipulating. He is just manipulating her. Just for his own selfish needs.
want to right now. If this keeps happening, we really can't keep seeing each other. Okay, I won't push you anymore. Then right before they get married, SJ texts Haeyoung, "Why do it if I'm the only one who enjoys it? It should be something that we both want. Fine, from now on, we're not gonna fight about sex anymore." Haeyoung is upset by this. She's like, "We already had this conversation before
Now he's
about the
projecting.
same exact thing." Then another from SJ to Haeyoung, "Don't say that you want to break up. There's nothing wrong between us." Haeyoung is agitated. "You know, this is the first time I've ever told you that I want to break up, right? It's because I don't respond to your physical affection the way you want, and I can't match the level of affection that you expect."
And that is completely respectable. That is literally what I was saying. Like, you know, at least she was open enough to just be like, "Hey, you know, I get that you're affectionate in like a sexual way, and look, I cannot provide that to you. So it would just be best if we just break up so you can move on, so that in that way you can get with a woman that gives you what you want." But he didn't take it. He didn't take it kindly.
Let's just stop here. Honestly, it would be better for you to meet someone who fits your needs because I can't do it anymore. The police investigate and they find that in the toxicology reports, there were sleeping drugs in Haeyoung's system when she died. She would never take these drugs, these sleeping
That's
medications
just
after
horrible,
drinking.
man.
She was really
That is
big on that.
horrible.
She thought that any sort of medication mixed
Wow.
with alcohol was like a surefire way to die. She would tell her sister, like, if you drink and take anything, like any sort of medication, you will die. The prosecutors believe that SJ approached Haeyoung in the morning, asked for intimate relations. She is having a very heavy period. So it's kind of complicated in the sense of she was not actively miscarrying when she passes away, but it seems like there are lots of complications that were occurring after the miscarriage, after the ectopic pregnancy, after the surgery. And this period, it wasn't just like oh, I'm just having a rough menstrual cycle this month. It seems like this is the after effects of everything that's happened. She's having really heavy bleeding. She's feeling unwell. He approaches her in the morning, asks for intimate relations. She denies it. And then he decides that he is going to impulsively kill her. That's how he describes it. But that impulsion lasts 12 hours later. So that's in the morning. She denies having intimate relations.
Oh, that's after the night out.
No.
Oh, wait.
So earlier, before the night out, he asks for intimate relations.
Yeah.
She says no.
Yeah.
So then they go out, they have a good time, and then he's very upset. He ends up killing her that night.
She come back, fell
Wow.
that night.
Yeah.
This is premeditated.
Wow.
So
Wow.
That's what the police
I cannot
came
believe
to,
what I'm
and
hearing,
there
guys.
is a whole, like a behavioral psychologist that works for the police. They stated, I don't think this is a matter of sexual desire. So a lot of people are saying, okay, is this like a sex addict that is mixed with someone who has murderous tendencies?
I was thinking that. Like how I said, you know, he's a sex addict who has who's a psychopath. But I don't know. It could be a lot more deeper than that.
Not that we're finding
let's see what she
excuses,
says.
but we're just trying to understand the concept of this, because how does a husband murder his wife because she doesn't want to have intimate relations? Usually you hear of husbands who are having affairs. You hear of husbands for A, B, C, and D, E reasons. This feels a little out of the norm. The behavioral psychologist
is an
says, I don't
understatement.
think this was a matter of desire. If it's just really high
about
desire,
being
he could have been
control.
sexually obsessed with other women as well.
Okay, yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be the case. This seems to be about control.
Dominance.
always.
Yeah, they found other messages where he would text Haeyoung like, don't ever think about cheating on me because I will track you down and I will kill you.
Oh my
Now, I know
god.
people love to victim blame and they're going to be like, oh, well, she should have left and not gotten married if he threatened to kill her. But I will also say that even in English, I think that there's miscommunication of like, I'll kill you. Like I'll kill you if you do something. Like, I guess some people could think it as cute, but in Korean,
No. Typically, if they say like a threat like that, like they mean it. There's no way around that. If they say that they're gonna kill you, that is like a major red flag. Like, no, I ain't taking that shit as no joke. There's nothing funny about that or nothing cute about it.
and it's even
That's
more
crazy.
so because
That's pure craziness.
like the
Is
term,
it like chocolate?
yeah, or like,
You wanna
oh,
die?
죽여버려. It's like people say that a lot.
Oh.
Like if someone is late for something, it's very common for family members to be like, oh, 죽여버려. It's like, "Ugh, I'm gonna kill them. Like, I'm gonna kill them. It's very, like,
Like I'm gonna strangle. Like I understand what she's saying. Like, yeah, it's a figure of speech. Like they don't actually mean it, but it's like, no, that is psychopathic, though.
it's very
Yeah.
So it was probably texted in that format. But I mean, there were some alarming things about him. And again, this is not me saying like, oh, she should have left. He's the problem, clearly.
No, he
But
was.
there is one time where Haeyoung's friends said they were in the car driving, and this is in Seoul. They get into a fight. He just stops the car in the middle of the road. There's cars honking behind him, and if you've ever driven in Seoul, if you've taken a taxi in Seoul, I mean, it's like New York City. People don't play.
Yeah.
They're honking, and he will not stop. He just stopped and will not stop fighting. The psychiatrist comments, from the perspective of someone like the perpetrator, the victim leaving and becoming another man's wife
was
was
unimaginable.
unimaginable.
Wow.
So it seems like she had brought up divorce in February. They don't end up getting the divorce, but things are progressing worse and worse. She rejects his advances. He decides, okay, she's definitely going to leave me then. And then decides, with the lack of control, the anger, and his bizarre feelings towards having intimate relations with his wife, he kills his wife. And they write, in other words, if I can't have her, I will destroy her. The case goes to trial. He's sentenced to 25 years in prison because it's Korea. A lot of people think that there could be more to the case in terms of he was alone with his deceased wife's body for hours. People are suspicious of what he could have done. Yeah.
And what are those sounds?
Him choking her. And I don't know where the dragging noise is, though, if she was fighting and then she ended up on the ground and they're dragging in a tussle. I don't know if maybe he choked her somewhere else and then dragged her to the bed. But Haeyoung's mom still keeps photos from the wedding day in her house, but she has cut out SJ out of all of them. And Haeyoung's friends say it's been really hard. And also, this is the thing with SJ, we don't know his name.
Rest in peace.
We don't know what he looks like because of the identity protection rules in South Korea. In fact, we weren't really supposed to know who Haeyoung is, what she looks like, or anything about her, but her parents wanted her to be revealed because they said, you will never understand what was taken from us if you don't see like the beauty in our girl, if you don't know who she is.
That's so rare.
Yeah, and I think a lot of Haeyoung's friends see this as a way to prevent. I think it's different. So I think everywhere, but especially in places like East Asia, marriage is seen as like you have to get married. It's the next step of your life. And so a lot of people are using this case amongst other cases to be like, hey, you really don't have to get married. Because if you marry the wrong person, you could also be dead.
Wow.
Haeyoung's friends say, whenever I'm struggling or I'm frustrated or I'm happy, I want to call Haeyoung and I can't call her. And I think about her every single day of my life.
Oh.
And that is the case that recently went viral on Instagram, where it was just like a headline of like.
And the thing is too, yeah, I do remember seeing this on Instagram highlights one time. I saw it like 3 months ago, and I was reading the comment section on the post, and yeah, there was a lot of sick comments when this news popped out, which it is really surprising because people are just freaking fucked up. They say things for attention. They say edgy, gross, degenerate shit just for shock value. And it's like enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Husband in South Korea kills wife because she said no to sex during her period. But it's just there's so much going on aside from that. What are your thoughts in this case? Let me know in the comments. Be safe, and I will see you in the next one.
Yeah, this is typical Rada Mango fashion. She does podcast videos on just crazy shit that goes on in the world, like even reading this title alone right here where it says pregnant 22-year-old found gutted. Like what, bro? Former reality TV swinger found dead after hiring hitman. Like this shit's crazy. This shit is just crazy. But I know that you guys are gonna want me to react to more of our videos, which I will gladly do. But keep in mind that I also want to push out other content on this channel to give you guys a variety, so I'm not just doing one thing all the time. But yeah, if you guys can like watch all my other videos, I'll gladly appreciate that. I appreciate y'all's support. I appreciate y'all for helping me come very far into this YouTube journey, even though it hasn't really even been that long. It's only been like 4 or 5 months, but I'm still eternally grateful for everything you guys have told me in the comment section. You guys are very kind and supportive, and I love y'all. But yeah, before I end this video, make sure you go over there and support Rana Mango and subscribe, because she's the one that makes this content. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'll provide a link to this video in the description below. And if you guys have not followed my Twitch account, I will pull it up right here. It's ingriffin9. I do daily live streams on here. So whenever I'm not on YouTube, I'll be over here streaming. So if you guys want to say something to me, feel free to reach out to me on here. And also I made a Patreon account. Hold on, I also made a Patreon account, and will provide that in the description below. So if you guys want me to watch movies or react to other content that YouTube prohibits, I'll be over there reacting to it. So yeah, that is something to consider. But I'm not gonna hold y'all up. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content. Help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Peace out, guys. NG Sensine out.